Many women believe that having a man simply means when he is physically around, replies to texts, says I love you, or gives his time. But in reality, the deepest connection is invisible. You can feel it without seeing it. True bonds do not grow on the surface of desire, but deep in the hidden layers of the mind. That is why there are loves that survive without touch and relationships that die even when they see each other every day. To have a man does not mean to own him, but to live in his thoughts, in his emotional memory, in the part of his soul that cannot separate from you, even if he tries. When a man is emotionally connected, he does not need to see you to think about you. Your presence becomes a sign, a quiet energy that walks with him, inspires him, and at the same time unsettles him. And the amazing truth is this connection does not come from what you do, but from who you are. When you stop looking for his approval, the moment a woman stops trying too hard to please, her energy changes. She no longer gives off desperation but starts to shine with realness. On a psychological level, this wakes up in the man an ancient desire to connect. He no longer sees only a woman, but a reflection of what his soul is trying to understand. Love does not happen between two outer personalities, but between two hidden inner minds that recognize something familiar in each other. When a woman reaches this quiet harmony, she becomes unforgettable. Not because of how she looks or what she says, but because she has touched a part of him that he did not even know was there. Then come confusion, fear, longing, and inner conflict. But by then, it is too late. The connection has already formed. At that moment, you truly have him. Not because he is beside you, but because his unconscious keeps searching for you even when you are gone. Because something in your presence has entered his mind and refuses to disappear. And even if he denies it, distracts himself, or tries to think logically, a part of him always returns to you. That is the quiet strength of psychological love. It is not won by effort, but by energy. It is not held by promises, but by presence. And once it is born, his mind, body, and heart fall into a cycle of attachment he can no longer fully control. So before you try to have him, ask yourself if you are truly living from your true self or from the fear of losing him. Because when you live from your core, there is nothing to prove. You naturally draw him in and hold his attention without trying to own him. You do not have him when he is physically close, but when his soul cannot forget you. Now comes the part about the male unconscious and his point of emotional surrender. A man does not fall in love because he chooses to. He falls in love when something deep inside him gives up control without knowing why. This process begins when the feminine energy inside a man awakens, triggered by contact with a woman who reflects what his inner world has been missing. This moment does not happen with just anyone. It happens with the woman who makes him feel noticed without pressure, understood without control. When the male unconscious is activated, the man feels a confusing mix of emotions: attraction, fear, openness, and the instinct to protect. It is no longer only about physical pull. Something inside him pushes him toward her even when his logical mind warns him not to. He starts thinking of her without reason, remembers her during random moments, and feels her presence even from far away. That is the first sign of unconscious surrender. When she becomes a constant thought without trying to cause it, it is because every man carries within himself an inner feminine image that represents softness, intuition, and emotional connection. When a woman naturally reflects this image, even without trying, the man feels she completes something deep inside him. Not because he is broken, but because she awakens a part of him he has buried for a long time. This is where his inner battle starts. His ego, which is used to controlling everything, begins to fight, yet his soul begins to give in. And the more he tries to resist the feeling, the stronger the bond becomes, because the unconscious does not understand plans or tricks, only emotional truth. When a woman touches his emotional center, his rational thinking loses its strength. The fascinating truth is that this process has nothing to do with big romantic words or dramatic actions. Surrender often happens in silence, in a deep look, a gentle movement, a peaceful presence that asks for nothing. In that moment, the man feels something new, something that confuses him but pulls him in strongly. And even if he acts cold, his body reveals the truth. His eyes change, his breathing shifts, and his voice becomes softer. These are physical reactions of the unconscious. It is the body's way of saying, I recognize her. She awakens something deep inside me. This surrender is not weakness, but change. When a man meets a woman who reflects his truest self, he can never love in the same way again, because after her, everything else feels empty and shallow. A man does not give up control for the one who chases him, but for the one who quietly reflects him. Many believe that a man forms a bond through desire, attention, or because of the intensity of a woman who makes him feel important. But that is only the outside layer. True emotional attachment does not come from desire, but from the deep feeling he experiences in her presence. When a woman shines with genuine authenticity, she does not struggle to impress or prove her value. She is so connected to her inner self that her energy becomes steady, balanced, and quietly powerful. The male unconscious feels this inner balance as emotional safety, something rare in the outside world. Then something very subtle happens. His emotional system begins to connect her presence with peace, with comfort, with a sense of home. It is not her beauty that truly holds him, but how he feels about himself when he is near her. That is the real difference between temporary attraction and deep emotional attachment. When he feels he can be open without being judged, when her silence does not scare him, and when he does not have to perform or prove himself to be accepted, his unconscious relaxes. And inside that relaxation, attachment is born. The male unconscious does not want rivalry, it wants stability. It searches for an energy that does not push him to become more, but invites him to be real. That is why a woman who does not need to prove her love with constant effort becomes his emotional anchor. She does not chase him, yet she does not shut down emotionally. She is simply there with a calm, grounded presence that touches him deeply and stays in his memory for a long time. Every true meeting of souls happens when both people lower their guards. This recognition takes place when both drop their masks. When you stop trying to be perfect and he, without noticing, lets go of his armor, something invisible happens between you that goes beyond logic. His unconscious begins to store you as part of his inner world. Then the small signs of attachment begin to show. He looks for you without reason, feels your absence strongly, remembers tiny details, and sometimes even dreams of you. It is not magic. It is psychology. It is not control. It is connection. It is what happens when two inner worlds quietly recognize each other without needing to explain why. And when this happens, distance no longer matters. Silence no longer breaks the bond, and time no longer weakens the feeling, because what has been touched is not the surface, but the deepest part of the mind and soul. It is a form of psychological projection. Your energy has entered his emotional space, and his mind silently builds bridges to keep you alive inside his thoughts. That is why the biggest mistake is believing you can create attachment by giving more, sacrificing more, offering everything, and showing endless love. True connection is born from balance. You give without losing your identity. You love without begging. You share without draining yourself. When you reach this balance, you become his strongest emotional symbol, because a man does not attach to what controls him, and he does not connect to what worships him, but to what calms his inner world. When you awaken peace inside him, when his soul feels safe enough to rest beside you, you no longer need to do anything. Real love is not the one that makes noise, but the one that is deeply felt even in silence. There is a strange truth about emotional distance. When you stop chasing him, he slowly starts chasing you. This is one of the most powerful and misunderstood patterns of emotional connection. The more you try to hold on to someone, the more they feel the need to escape. But when you learn how to release control, their energy naturally shifts toward you. The human soul moves in opposites: closeness and distance, desire and resistance. When a woman acts from neediness, it triggers the opposite force in a man, the urge to pull away. But when her energy becomes calm, free, and emotionally steady, His unconscious feels something that confuses him deeply. He no longer controls how she affects him. Detachment does not mean being cold or emotionally absent. It means emotional strength. It is the ability to love without turning love into a survival tool. When a woman lets go, she does not stop loving. She only stops chasing. And this change is felt by the man immediately, even if he cannot understand why. The male unconscious reacts to mystery, not predictability. When he knows you are always available, his mind relaxes and slowly loses interest. But when he senses that you are not always there, that your life is full and does not revolve around him, a quiet tension is created inside him that pushes him toward you. This is not manipulation. It is the natural psychology of desire. Only when something feels unreachable does the soul begin to crave it deeply. When you step back calmly, without anger and without giving reasons, you create an emotional space, and that empty space becomes the mirror of his own longing. Suddenly, he begins to wonder where you are, what you are doing, and why you are not reaching out. Maybe she does not need me anymore, he thinks. These thoughts are not logical. They rise from his unconscious, trying to repair the emotional cord that has loosened. The irony is that in this silence, he feels you more intensely. Your absence carries more weight than your constant presence because he can no longer be sure you are waiting. This awakens something ancient inside him, a strong emotional reaction, the need to reconnect. His mind looks for explanations, but his body and soul already know the truth. He misses you. Emotional detachment carries a high inner frequency. When you feel calm within yourself, not from ego or pride, but from real self-respect, you send out an energy that does not beg or demand. This energy is magnetic. A man feels it as emotional grace, as silent strength, and his unconscious is drawn to it without knowing why. When you stop searching for him, he begins searching for you. When you stop showing him that you need him, he slowly starts to feel that he needs you. And when you stop trying to win him over, his soul begins to fear the idea of losing you. Detachment does not destroy connection. It restores balance. It returns the natural flow that was lost when one person gave more than the other. When you reach this balance, he not only comes back, he starts to see you with completely different eyes. No longer as someone waiting for him, but as someone who awakens something inside him. When you learn how to let go, you stop being an option and begin to feel like destiny. There is always a moment when everything shifts, not because he speaks about it, but because his behavior exposes it. The male unconscious often reveals truth long before the mind is ready to accept it. When a man is emotionally tied to you, his body language, routines, and gaze give him away. The first sign is contradiction. He says he does not want anything serious, yet he keeps coming back to you. He claims he is not ready for commitment, yet he cannot stand the thought of losing you. This inner conflict is a clear sign of unconscious attachment. His ego is trying to stay in control, but his soul has already loosened its defenses. He is not confused. He feels deeply, and he is afraid. The second sign is automatic attention. He remembers the smallest details, things you said, special dates, a song, a phrase you once spoke. This shows you have become part of his emotional reference system. You are no longer just a woman in his life. You are a presence living inside him. Even when he tries to distract himself with work or other people, everything leads him back toward you. Your energy has become his emotional anchor. The third sign is his need to maintain contact without reason. He sends messages just to ask how you are, asks meaningless questions, or reaches out without a clear purpose. This is not coincidence. It is his unconscious trying to keep the emotional bridge alive in symbolic ways. When a man is emotionally attached, silence becomes unbearable. He needs to know that you still exist in his world, even if it is only through a simple greeting. The fourth sign is the vulnerability he tries to hide. He begins to show you his more human sides, his fears, his doubts, and his insecurities. Sometimes he becomes frustrated with himself because he cannot understand what he is feeling. Yet at this point, the bond becomes stronger because he is no longer afraid to be seen. His mask starts to feel useless in your presence. The fifth sign is subtle jealousy. Even if he never admits it, you can feel the shift in him when other men notice notice you, not because he wants to own you, but because on an unconscious level, he already sees you as part of his inner world. This reaction is not logical, it is instinct, a quiet protective impulse that rises when he feels he could lose something precious. And the deepest sign of all is in his eyes. The way he looks at you changes. He no longer looks at you with simple desire, but with recognition. A silent gaze that stays a moment too long is the language of the inner world saying, "You are already inside me." At that point, you are no longer just an experience. You become a mirror. His unconscious has woven you into his emotional story. Even if he denies it, part of him has already chosen you. This does not mean he is ready to admit it or make a commitment. Many men need time to accept the depth of what they feel, but the truth is already alive. His soul has surrendered, even if his mind still fights it, and you will feel it without words. The way he looks at you, searches for you, or even avoids you speaks louder than promises. The unconscious does not lie. When a man has absorbed you into his inner world, silence becomes a confession. He does not say it, but his soul has already chosen you. Now comes the most delicate part, how to keep his emotional bond without losing yourself. This is where many women make their biggest mistake. They believe that once he is attached, they must hold tighter, give more, and protect the bond by effort. But true emotional connection is like a living thing. If you squeeze it, it suffocates. If you starve it, it fades. It survives only in balance. You must remain the woman you were when he fell in love with your energy, not someone who disappears into him. Your happiness must not depend on his attention. Your peace must not depend on his messages. When you stay centered, calm, and emotionally full on your own, you protect the natural flow of the connection. He stays drawn, not because you trap him, but because you remain a place of emotional rest, safety, and silent strength. As soon as they sense that a man has become emotionally involved, many women try to secure that love by looking for reassurance, kind words, clear promises, and strong signs of commitment. But strangely, this effort often breaks the very magic that created the bond in the first place. Real love is born in balance, in the space between the self and the other, between the wish to connect and the need to stay separate. When one person loses themselves completely in the other, the bond slowly changes from a healthy relationship into emotional dependence. That is why your real power, once you already have him emotionally attached, is not found in trying to hold him tightly. It may sound confusing, but the deep emotional bond in a man grows through mystery, through the feeling that he can never fully own or figure you out. When a man feels that he could lose you, his emotional energy stays awake, alert, and alive. This is not about playing games or manipulating him, but about keeping the emotional spark alive that makes him want to keep choosing you again and again. You do not give him everything about yourself, even when he opens up emotionally. Giving too much without balance leads to emotional saturation. The male inner world stops chasing what it already feels it owns. Because of this, you must protect your own space, your personal routines, and your passions that do not revolve only around him. When he sees that you live with purpose, that you carry your own light, and that you live a full life, his inner mind feels admiration and desire at the same time. That mix of emotions is extremely powerful. It keeps him emotionally connected without making him feel trapped or controlled. The second important rule is to never react from a place of emptiness. If he pulls back a little, do not chase him or beg for attention. A man's inner world needs quiet space to understand what he feels. When you respect his silence without punishing him, without demanding answers, and without emotional pressure, you give him something rare. You give him the experience of a woman who does not need to control him in order to feel safe. That calm energy draws him in because it shows emotional strength and maturity. The third rule is to become a mirror, not a shelter. Do not try to fix his wounds or rescue him from his pain. Every man must face his own darkness alone. Your role is not to save him, but to reflect to him what he is capable of becoming. When your presence shows him his potential instead of focusing on his pain, his inner world starts to connect you with growth rather than suffering. This creates a much deeper bond than any spoken promise of love ever could. The fourth rule is to keep your feminine energy alive without losing your inner balance. Softness, kindness, empathy, and intuition are powerful forces, but they must come from strength, not from self-sacrifice. A woman who is comfortable within herself gives off a calm that naturally disarms a man. She does not need to argue, beg, or explain herself. She simply exists in her truth. That quiet power awakens in a man the feeling that he has found something complete and real. Always remember that the goal is not to control his mind, but to touch his soul, because the soul only responds to truth. When you let your own light shine without needing his light to survive, he feels that your love does not trap him, but lifts him higher. In this way, the connection stays alive without you losing who you are. Not through pressure, but through peace. Not through need, but through the natural attraction of a woman who knows her value. Do not hold him tightly. Shine naturally, and he will feel where he belongs without being forced. When a man is willing to risk his peace of mind, his logic, or even his pride for a woman, it is not because he has lost control, but because something deep inside him has recognized something that his mind cannot explain. It is like a silent inner recognition, a meeting of two souls that happens beyond logic or reason. It is not obsession, and it is not weakness, but the strange and powerful experience of seeing yourself inside another person. It feels like the soul has discovered a missing part of itself. But here is the hidden truth. This kind of love cannot survive if it grows from fear or dependency. When love is born from deep emotional layers, it must grow slowly into awareness. What starts as strong attraction, fantasy, or fascination must slowly change into conscious love. A love where both people choose each other freely, not because they are afraid of being alone, but because they truly want each other. The woman who inspires this kind of love is not the one who disappears into him completely, and not the one who hides behind fake strength or masks. She is the one who has learned to understand herself, accept her own darkness, and love deeply without losing her identity. The deepest kind of relationship is not between two perfect people, but between two souls who help each other grow and become whole. That is love that rises above simple desire, where two souls do not consume each other, but expand together. So when he speaks in confusing ways or becomes silent and you feel lost, do not search for answers in his words alone. Look at his energy. The inner world speaks through actions, through silence, through small gestures, and through little contradictions that show what the mind is afraid to admit. If he protects you, worries about you, and tries to understand you even when he does not have the right words, then he is already more connected than he wants to admit. He may not say it because his mind is still afraid of losing control, but deep inside, he has already chosen. And there is one truth you must always remember. You never have to prove your worth in order to be loved. Real love is not something you fight for or beg for. It shows itself naturally when both souls are ready to meet without fear. It is not about forcing him to love you. It is about letting love happen when you are calm inside. When you move from that deep inner peace, you become a mirror where he can see himself clearly without pretending. In that moment, love stops being a game of strategies and becomes something real and alive, a shared journey of awakening, a quiet movement between two hearts slowly becoming aware. Real love does not chain you, it frees you, it does not complete you, it awakens you. And this is the kind of love that feels like destiny, the love that does not grow from need, but from the deepest part of the soul.